Hello, everyone. Welcome back to This Week in Guns. It's brought to you by the Patriot Patch Company and Primary Arms. The show offers commentary on latest firearms industry news, information, and buzz. I'm Matt Larosiere. I host the show, and co-host is Shawn Herrin. Shawn, welcome. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. So happy to be here.
Yay.
What's up, man?
I am feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. It's a decent enough day. What about you?
I'm feeling good. It's decent. It's been a busy day. I'm ready for the day to be over.
Really? Like you do a lot of shows today?
Yeah, it's just been like it. So yeah, I did a show at 9 that went to 10:30. I did a show at 12 that went to 3. I did another show that went from 3 to 4:13. Then I was on a conference call till 5. Then I got here. We're doing this, and then I have one more to do after that. And then I actually have to get my work done for the day.
12 till 3.
So yeah.
What kind of show is that?
Well, the guest was late.
Oh.
And then we ended up talking for like an hour and 40 minutes. And then we talked for like another hour after we stopped recording.
Right.
So it was one of those, but I mean, it was fun. I'm just tired.
Gotcha. I understand.
But never too tired for this show. Never too tired to be here with you, my friend. In
Yay.
fact, now I'm pumped.
That's me.
Pumped.
I'm the pumper.
Well,
Well,
pumping me up right now.
Speaking of pumps, I actually, and this is an exciting moment for me. You've been telling me a lot about long range shooting.
Yes.
Right? You've been talking about it nonstop. Frankly, it's really annoying when you talk about it. But
I text him all hours.
Yeah. Me being really nuts about French guns, my buddy let me know this company was bringing in a limited amount of these French sniper rifles. And so I sold a bunch of my, like, everything that like I didn't need, and I grabbed one. And I'm a hardcore iron sights guy. So now I've got this really nice sniper rifle and I need a scope.
Yeah. I mean, a real man would just shoot long range with the iron sights, but
I'm still going to do that.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So we were actually looking before the show for a little scope for you. And I said, well, why not Primary Arms? Cause they advertise on the show. So why not them?
Well, and they're known for their optics, really.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. They're doing a lot on the website or on the, like, I don't know, clearinghouse side now, where they sell stuff from everybody, but they still do a ton of optics.
So we came on here. This is just before the show.
Well, we went there. I think the phrasing was weird on that.
No, I said what I meant. So and we were looking at all these different options, and there was a lot of good stuff on here. And I think there's two we came to. We actually were looking specifically at the Primary Arms scopes. So let's actually go there to optics, scopes, Primary Arms scopes.
Yeah.
And we were talking about reticles and stuff. And so there's two that really caught our eye. One was this, no, it wasn't this one because we didn't like that up. It was this one, 2.5 to 10. Because I'm in Florida. I'm never going to really see further than 400 yards anyway, because there's going to be a swamp in the way. With the neat little reticle thing that I like. And you know what? Super reasonable price. And you yourself told me that I would most likely be happy with the quality of this one on that gun.
I believe so. And the caliber is correct. So it's that ACSS reticle for 308. It's a 2.5 to 10. And honestly, I generally shoot like anything under 800 at about 10 and only dial up to 12 or 14 if I'm over 1,000.
So is there a reason you don't want to zoom in more than you have to?
Yeah. So movement is amplified. The more that you're zooming in. So movement is amplified. So like I think you struggle just a little bit more to keep everything still. And then you engage too many muscle systems and end up shaking a little bit more right off the top there. But also finding your target or your threat or whatever, however you want to refer to it, is much more difficult the more you're zoomed in. So sometimes when you're doing multiple target engagements at different distances, whether known or unknown, you will have to dial out to find your target, then zoom in on it, where it's really just all unnecessary. So I like to, me and just about everybody I know, like to shoot at a smaller magnification so that you can more easily find your target and then engage it.
Right. I mean, because you're not shooting bullseye, right? You're trying to shoot for engagement, and so it's better not to obsess over aiming at the breast pocket versus just trying to hit center mass.
Yeah, minute of man.
Exactly. Yeah, well, that makes perfect logical sense to me.
Same.
So what do you say about, and this is something that I'm just now coming into, what do you say about the people who say that, like, I feel like there's a culture in long distance shooting where it's kind of like people are like, oh, you have to spend, you have to spend 20% of your salary for an engagement ring. Like, people are like, you shouldn't, like, they say the optics should cost more than the gun or something like that. What do you think of that?
They're right. However, having said that, like, that's not realistic for a lot of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have historically gone after like lower cost optics because I want to find a different way. Now, what that experimentation has done for me is told me that all the people who say you should spend more on glass are correct, but you can absolutely do it with less expensive stuff. It's just not going to be as clear, or as, depending on the company, like the turrets may not have a zero stop.
Right.
There's 1,000 different things that make it better, but I want to be able to reach out with a piece of $100 glass, and you absolutely can. It's just going to be a little bit more difficult, but there are certainly some companies that I've worked with that are putting out, $600 optics that I have engaged out to 1,200 yards with no problem whatsoever. So,
Right.
so they're right, but they're not the only answer, I guess.
Right. Well, I'm glad you said that, because I spent all my money on the rifle, and so I'm going to have to get a more reasonable.
Dude, I don't even think you could double the price of the rifle. I don't think any optic exists that is double the price of that rifle.
Oh, is that the rule of thumb? Double the price of the rifle?
Yeah, or at least as much, but a lot of people double the price of the rifle, because a lot of people shoot shitbox $1,000 rifles and have $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 glass.
God, I wouldn't call a $1,000 rifle a shitbox, but
well,
you're
in long range.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And also, you know what? The other thing is, most of the money I paid for my gun is rarity. I'm sure, like, I will be shocked if a Savage Axis doesn't beat my gun's ass. You know what I mean?
Totally agree. Yeah.
But we'll see. And that'll be something to test, just to see how good it is. But that's what I should do. I should actually just order the, like, cheapest 308 Savage that I can buy, and then put it, with it, that comes with the glass and everything.
Yeah.
And put it next to the, like, just so you guys know, the French sniper rifles came in, the minimum price was $6,500.
Sheesh.
Which is, like, really gross, right? And I had to clean out more of my collection than I wanted to get it. But I just think it'll be funny to see how that lines up. But just being honest, like, I do think that if the, like, $300 with scope Savage doesn't slap that French gun, I will be shocked.
I will, and I love that idea.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, that's what I'll do.
All right, cool.
All right, sweet. But yeah, guys, frn.deal/PA. You can check out stuff like that scope that I'm going to get, and all kinds of other stuff. And if you want to join me in this experiment, why don't you go up on there, get yourself a inexpensive scope, get the cheapest 308 or 30-06 bolt gun you can have, and then post pictures making fun of the groups that I post with my French military sniper rifle.
I love this idea.
It'll be like Florida loser blows load on French sniper rifle, gets dunked on by Savage Axis.
Gets dunked on by a high point carbine.
No, if that happens, I'll be livid.
Like,
I'll be. I do have a first gen high point 995, so we'll bring it out.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what calibers I have. I've only got 9 and 45.
Yeah, mine's a first gen, and it's factory chrome.
What? Mm-hmm. You got that?
Oh yeah.
I didn't know you rolled like that.
You got to. I got it off of You know how Century Arms is their scratch and dents?
Yeah.
It was one of those. There was no picture. It just said High Point 995 Gunsmith Special. And I ordered it. Well, it's got an import mark on it, right? So this is some gun that they brought in some bizarre deal. And it's a chrome High Point 995. And there's nothing wrong with it. It was like $140.
What?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it aside from the fact that it's a 995.
That is amazing.
But that's how I got mine. I was like, I'll fix it, no big deal. And it had like a Tasco red dot on it.
This is the best deal of.
You know what those are worth, right?
The Tasco red dot?
Yeah, like 40, 50 cents. No problem.
Oh. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's a wonderful time to be alive.
It is. We are having a great time being alive. Speaking of being alive, guess who's alive?
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? We still have to talk about this idiot?
Mr. Chippers. He's back. Yay. We got this Crump article, which Crump, I love you. Fix your sentence structure because this was hard to read. But like, yeah, before leaving the bearded shop spotter. I like that one.
Yeah, that's that thing where they call police to minority neighborhoods every time someone drops a shopping cart.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tagged into those ones that those things you see, those boxes on the end of the shopping carts you see in the bad neighborhoods.
Yes,
that's shop spotter. Yeah, right. So that's a funny Crump thing. Shop spotter has faced criticism from activists.
That is bad.
Tighten it up, brother. But I do love you, man. So anyway, he's written an article here. We all know the White House has pulled their nomination of him as ATF Grandmaster, which really isn't that important because we haven't had an ATF Grandmaster in like over a decade by now.
Yeah. So
pulled from there, but apparently he's being eyed as the gun czar.
Well, what does Beto have to say about that?
He's probably so down here. There's a few reactions, and I think it's probably similar to those. Let's hear Brady. Hugely disappointing.
It's huge.
It is reported that White House will withdraw the ATF director nomination of David Shipman after his smear campaign from the gun lobby plus resistance. Oh, I didn't want to click on that. Plus resistance from a majority of senators. We need a qualified leader like Chipsman from the ATF.
What? He is not qualified. Every ATF agent that testified or not testified that mentioned anything was like, yeah, no, that's not the guy. Like he's up.
Yeah. So this is just like totally contrived. Yeah. There's more. The White House decision and choice to not put up a fight to confirm David Shipman to head the ATF is a significant failure that undermines the promises President Biden made while running for office. We need Biden's leadership to address this crisis, and we need it now. That's what this blue check mark loser said.
Yeah.
Another one, Fred Gutenberg, the guy who invented the press.
Yeah, I've heard of her.
Truly upset. David Shipman is a good man and was the right person for the job. We have weak people serving in the Senate, such as Angus King, who chose to listen to regulated industry. Sadly, the White House failed to put up a fight on this. And did y'all forget the part where your own mouthpiece group said resistance from a majority of senators?
Yeah.
How do you think he was going to get confirmed?
Okay, first of all, are the Republicans like the majority in the Senate?
No.
Exactly. Exactly. Idiots.
Well, that's what, they didn't even say that. They said the gun lobby. And I was working on opposing Chipman, and I'll tell you something, guys. I have still not gotten a cent of money for what I've done from these gun companies. So I don't know if my check is just getting lost or what, but these people's conspiracy theories, I wish they were truer than they are, to be honest.
Yeah. No, they're truly ridiculous.
I wouldn't have to build my own RPKs if I was getting all that gun industry money.
Yeah. I called this, right? Like when I said we've been spending time basically building this man into the most effective anti-gun or the most desirable anti-gun crusader in the universe. And sure enough,
well, is he?
well, no, but also yes. We built him into this, whether he's truly that or not.
Right.
All people that are calling him a qualified leader and a good man. Really, I don't think there's any even anecdotal evidence that he's a good man. In fact, everyone that I've heard, and maybe that's just because I live in an echo chamber, has said that he's kind of an awful human being, basically a racist and terrible leader. And I mean, this is from his peers. And I don't know.
Yeah. Well, let's just brush all that off because you remember that that's not important.
Yeah.
Yeah. I looked around and I still haven't found Beto responding to this.
No, he won't. He's a little cuck.
He's not allowed. Yeah, he's not allowed. They told him they'll take away the last of his toys if he do that.
Yeah, if he says anything, then here's the thing. Every further day of the Biden presidency takes this country so far like into other horrible like public and social issues that I don't even understand why they're still pushing for guns so much. Like, we are in a crisis in this country and like so many different areas, but somehow still this guns are the answer, even though, most people who die from guns are either self-inflicted, suicides, gang involved, criminally involved. Yeah. It's made up. It's all made up. And
the other part is like a lot of like, I don't like to speak in absolutes, right? Because there's no good data, right? All gun data is junk data, including the data that's in our favor.
Agreed.
And we have to be honest about that. The data that we get, about like defensive gun uses and stuff, it looks good, and probably the truth supports us, but the data is junk. It's trash. It's unreliable, and it's really not objective.
Defensive gun use data is like made up.
It's complete. It's all an extrapolation, right? Yeah. Because guess what? Most people, and when I say most, I mean probably like 51% of people are smart enough not to snitch on themselves. So when somebody calls you up and says, "Hey, have you ever pulled a gun on somebody in the last year?" You go, "Oh, right?"
Yeah.
Regardless of what you actually did. So it's yeah. I do believe the, because the smallest amount estimated is 60,000 a year, and the largest amount is like 1.1 million. Mm-hmm. I do believe it's probably somewhere in the middle, like 300,000 or something like that. That would make perfect sense to me. Like one of every 100 people. That would make logical sense to me. But still, the data is junk. Like that's the big thing.
Yeah, I don't care if it's 5. Like, a person should have the ability to defend themselves should a criminal decide that their life is less important. Like that's just it. I don't care if the number's 5. I don't care if it's 300,000, but I do think we do ourselves a disservice by talking about these made up numbers sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it's just so bizarre, the fixation. And like, I say this a lot, and sometimes it's hard for me to separate my like shit posty persona from, me being like a policy professional. But speaking as a policy professional, it doesn't matter what the numbers are, because there is objective utility in gun ownership. And like, despite the fact that there are objective risks, with which there are, we need to tolerate them, and we need to look at guns the way we look at. People always say, "Oh, if we treated guns like we treated cars," hell, let's do that. We tolerate like the incredible risks of driving around in cars because we understand the objective utility. And if everybody could sit down and just be like, "All right, we don't like this type of gun because we think it's particularly more dangerous, but we recognize, we're going to sit down and recognize that guns have a positive utility. Self-defense is a legitimate, thing, blah, blah, blah. So let's debate it." That would be a good debate.
Yeah.
Well, one, we would win because there is no principal distinction between, a Ruger Mini 14 and my RPK here. And also probably no mechanical distinction between a Savage Access and a FRF2. But we can't get to that argument as long as guns remain this like fixated, like this was what I was getting at earlier. Like, it sounds shit posty, but I'm saying this like as a policy person. The anti-gun side has a proto-sexual fixation with firearms.
Yeah.
And people might tell me, "Oh, you're not blah blah this and that." I've sat there and I've just looked at it too many times, and I've heard the arguments too many times, and to me at this point the only explanations are one, that, and I've said this on this show before, that people who are super scared of guns have unexplored, intrusive thoughts that they're not comfortable with, and they need to, talk to somebody about it and learn that it's normal and that you don't have to act on those things.
Yes.
Or two, that they just have a like quasi-sexual obsession with guns, right? And because they're always talking about how it's a phallic symbol and stuff like that. We don't talk about that.
No.
Like, I don't even think of them that way, but they're always like, that gun is a dick, and it's a dick compensation thing, it's a cock thing. And I'm like,
what?
Are you sure? Like,
I don't
to you so. Maybe to you, and like it freaks you out, and so you get that like evil white whale thing connection to it, and a fixation, and it becomes very fulfilling to go out in the open and joust at this windmill. But anyway, so yeah, I guess I'm saying they've that people who are anti-gun are either, I'm going to give them three options. They're either not aware of the objective positive utility, they need to be more comfortable with their psyche, or they have a weird sex thing. That's
probably all three.
I mean, you don't have to choose.
Right.
I'm not a shrink. My doctor's in law. I don't have, but that's my theory.
I think it's a good theory, man.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, what do you think about those avenues? I mean, you've met plenty of anti-gun people. What do you think?
I fully 100% agree with everything you just said. Like those three things, yeah. I think I absolutely, without question, it's very likely one of those three things. Or there could be a fourth, that they're genuinely scared because they consume so much of the mainstream media and just what's out there, and haven't. Which pill's the one that actually helps you think freely? The red pill? They haven't read.
Yeah, the red pill frees you from the simulation.
Yeah, they haven't got there. They haven't learned.
You take the blue pill, you get to marry your anime wife and live happily in the computer.
Yeah, they just they haven't broken. And dude, the reason that I say this is because I lived like this for a while. Like, I objectively did not think critically while I was raising my kids about stuff like this. Like, it just didn't matter to me, and I hadn't really put any thought into it. But the second you put some actual thought into it, if you're a thinking person, you realize like, oh wow, yeah, things are not what they seem. Like my life, exactly the same. You watch television, you think everybody's a racist, you think everything's falling apart, you think everyone's dying of COVID. Like, well, actually everyone may be dying of COVID, but
whatever.
My everyday life literally hasn't changed at all. And there's no way to look at both those viewpoints. Like, one of them clearly is wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. And it makes sense to look at the incentive structures. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to say with any of those things that I understand the incentive structures, because, if I spent all day doing that, I would just not be happy.
Yeah.
So I do other things.
Yeah. I don't watch the news like that.
Yeah.
And I always say media is the enemy. Media is the enemy. I say it all the freaking time. And everyone's
he says as a media person.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, absolutely. And I'm saying that realistically. Don't listen to me either. You can like what my opinions are, but don't listen to me. Like, I'm an idiot. I'm a dumb idiot. I'm a dummy idiot. Don't listen to me. Like, you can hear me talk about things, and it's why I try to talk about how I think about things, as opposed to this is the way things are.
Right.
Because I want people to critically think for themselves. Never listen to me. You may learn something from what I say, but always put your own thought into it before you make a decision.
Yeah. I always, on Twitter or whatever, I put my bios always says like barely literate moron. Is like you should if I say something really slick, you should double check it. I might be lying. I do that just for fun sometimes.
Sometimes. Yeah, and it's not to say like I've never said something. I have actually said some things that I'm like, I can't believe I actually said that because it's kind of profound.
Really?
Yeah. Nothing cool.
Oh.
I think one of my favorite things that I ever said is people don't pay attention to anything else that's going on. The only time someone pays attention to you is if they want to fuck you or fight you. Otherwise, you could walk right by them literally with a rifle on your back and they wouldn't even notice.
Yeah.
And that's it. So I always notice stuff because I want to fight everybody. But yeah, like sometimes.
Are you sure you want to fight everybody?
Well, we'll see.
Well, yeah. All right.
So
you've got some weird problems going on.
I do.
I'm surprised you're not anti-gun.
No, I'm not. I'm literally the most polar opposite of that in the universe. Like I literally want 5-year-olds to own firearms. I'm not saying they should have like unfettered access to them, but I think that as they grow up,
at least fettered access.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, like don't listen to me. Like that doesn't mean I have nothing of value to say. It means think for yourself, learn how to think for yourself, take in all the different viewpoints that you care to take in, and then make a decision based on that.
All right. Well, speaking of, thank you for that, man. That was really good. Speaking of viewpoints and taking them in, what if I told you, okay, get ready.
I'm ready.
Hyper rich person.
Mm-hmm.
Gun statement, political.
What?
Oh, yeah, they made one. Check it out. Boop.
Oh, God.
It's Grimes.
Okay, first of all, that's a chick?
Yeah, yes. And she has mothered child of Elongated Musket.
Well, that child went hungry is all I'm trying to say.
Fair. But yeah, Elongated Musket's wife, Grimes, who is an art music person, she showed up to the Turbo Luxury Met Gala. And at this place, she brought a massive sword, which was allegedly, and it said on it, it says, crafted from a Colt AR-15 A3. There's 3 exclamation points.
Very important. So
this is dumb as hell. I looked into this, and of course, this is like, this 30 grand ahead to get into this place. That's where AOC was wearing her like little
Chick-fil-A dress.
Tax the. She had a Chick-fil-A cosplay dress that said "Tax the Rich" on it.
Yep.
And I looked into this company, and I'm looking at that thing, right? And look at the size of this sword.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah, and you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking.
Yeah,
there is not that much steel in an AR-15.
No.
Period. End of story.
Like the barrel, the bolt,
barrel and bolt,
some springs.
That's it. Yep. And you can't good luck reforging spring steel right into something else.
Yeah.
So and that bolt is preposterously hard. I don't know if they got like a really cool forge, but still, this is a 28-inch long blade.
It is so ridiculous.
No, so I'm sitting there like, this is a scam. It has to be. So I looked into it. All right. I did some sleuthing. And, it's going to seem to the viewers like I planned this out because it all lines up too well. This is the website.
Oh, I actually saw these images, but I thought someone was just memeing it.
It's guns2swords.com.
Okay.
Made from melted down gunmetal. Material, gunmetal steel. Hey, guys out there in the audience, that's not a material. 1 gun used per sword. Blade is 28 inches. The hilt is 8-inch leather-wrapped full tang, and it's a 6-pound sword. Forged in New York City. So I'm like, I got to read the terms and conditions here. Like, what's the deal here?
Yeah.
I read and study the lore.
Oh, phallic symbols.
It goes straight into it. So I'm just going to read this lore to you guys listening. The headline is, "Are guns phallic symbols?" Chris Burden wishes he'd shot himself in the nuts like those Second Amendment clowns on Facebook did.
Oh boy.
Gun culture is the realm of the absurd. Let's make it the realm of the fantastic. We're going to take your guns! Exclamation, exclamation. This phrase is hardwired to the fight or flight response. What? Guns to swords pulls a different psychological lever. If Americans demand the right to bear arms, perhaps a cooler looking and less destructive arm is our answer.
Oh.
Beating guns into plowshares isn't sexy, but beating them into swords, now that's sexy. Guns are only quasi-phallic, but swords go all the way. Let's remove some ambiguity. And sex sells. We propose that guns are a symbol that can be replaced by a different symbol without loss of satisfaction and at reduced threat to others. Guns to swords substitutes the symbol for the real and neuters reality while salving the psyche. The sword guy and the gun guy both live in fantasy worlds. Right-wing militiamen in ill-fitting combat gear wage war against imagined oppression, just as the LARPing sword guy fights mythical beasts. But the gun-toting wackos hold in their sweaty hands aimless death for dozens. Fantasy lives in the mind and ought to stay there. Non-mandatory gun buyback efficacy is mixed at best. Still, removing guns from circulation is never a bad thing, merely more or less effective. Chekhov's gun holds a true in fact as in fiction. A gun, once introduced, will be fired. So I read into more of this, and they were super vague, right? They're like, you'll send us a gun, and they like don't say that they only use the gun parts or whatever.
Yeah.
But then there's a video on here that shows, first of all, like, and they probably did this just to be like super duper upsetting. Here, I'll pull it up.
I didn't even see the video.
This video.
Oh.
Where the first thing they do is they're like, be wary, we're going to take their guns. They show themselves dismantling the gun, and of course it's a K98.
Ah.
It's like, oh, right. Yeah, your like stupid political statement is worth more than, a very significant piece of history.
Yeah.
And so then they show the forge, but they only conspicuously showed like one part going in there. Yeah. And that's a big thing.
I believe this to be stock video.
Right. So what I think is happening is they're just like putting one gun piece, right, into this stupid thing, melting it, and then pouring a sword out, and then claiming that the sword was made from that gun.
Yeah.
And then selling it for,
they don't say,
$5,000. I looked into it.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I have so many things to say about this. Number one, they're idiots. And not just for the reasons that you might think. If they, without all the going after gun people for being, I don't know, mental children with phallic issues.
Which we are.
Totally, 100%. Yeah,
we definitely have phallic issues.
Yeah, like instead of going that route, like if they were like, hey, we know you have a gun laying around that you don't want, we'll make it into a sword. Isn't that cool? We think that's amazing.
Yeah.
Because the whole time we were watching that, I was like, dude, I so want to like melt down a shitty gun and turn it into a sword.
Right.
They would have so much better. I don't even know what to say. $5,000 is ridiculous, especially looking at the quality of that steel on that blade. It was
they even say that it's a little bit like a less than dog shit sword and that it will arrive unsharpened.
Yeah.
And also, that's not how you make swords. Like, you don't just pour them out.
No.
They have to actually be forged.
That's how you make high points.
Yeah. We should send him a bunch of high points and be like, can you melt down the Zytel? Oh, you can't because it's a thermoplastic? Oh, but you still sent us a sword? That's funny.
Weird.
It's so weird. It's not like this is a scam. This couldn't possibly be a scam for taking money from rich people, could it?
It's definitely. In fact, I'm mad that I didn't come up with this because there's like no relationship. Like they literally melt metal, pour it into a thing, and then polish it, and then send it.
Dude, let's wait a couple of years and let's do this again. But what we're gonna do, so the way it's gonna be, we're gonna do all the shit exactly the same, but we're going to say one gun is destroyed per sword, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, wait, no. We'll say one sword is made with each gun we receive,
Okay.
taking them off the street. And so then what'll happen is we'll just pour out of like a bunch of junk these swords to send it for these people and like engrave in the gun they sent us, and we'll just take the gun.
So it's a win-win.
Yeah, we just get guns. Basically, we get a gun for free.
Yeah.
And they pay us
$5,000.
$5,000.
And we make a $50 freaking sword.
Yeah. We make a junk sword out of pot metal. And we don't even polish it. We pay some dude to polish it.
Even better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so I am not against this idea. I think it's actually kind of cool to like make a sword out of a melted down gun that you don't want.
Right.
Like
I also think it's cool to steal guns from stupid rich people.
100%. Like I kind of want to make a sword out of an old gun that I have or something. Because I am blessed. Like I have guns. I have a lot of guns. And I kind of love the idea of actually having a sword on my back while I have a rifle slung on my front.
The gun would have to be like, because I'm almost like a gun hoarder. Like a gun will be like pretty critically broken, and I will be like, I will fix this later.
Oh, I am a gun hoarder without question.
Yeah, I've got some guns that are like have ringed bores and stuff. I didn't do it, but I wound up with them like super messed up, and I'm like, I'm gonna fix this eventually. I'm gonna counterbore this ruby. No, I'm not, but like
right.
I hold on to them. Like this is a thing, and just like you said, I would be like, if I could wind up, and I think with some guns, you probably could wind up, because a lot of like gun parts are like 4130.
Mm-hmm.
You could wind up with a pretty damn good blade.
Yeah.
I would totally, if I had a gun that was super broke, I would totally like turn it into a machete or something.
I have actually a suicide rifle.
A what?
A suicide rifle. A rifle used for an actual suicide.
Yeah, and it's got the like tag on the box. I think you told me about that before.
Yeah, no, that was a different one. But I do have this one. I bought it from a buddy who lives in a small community. That he got it from the mom of the person who killed himself, and he's like, I can't sell it. And I was like, well, I'll give you what you gave her and I'll take it home. Not realizing that once I got it home, I'm like, oh no. Yeah. I mean, I don't even want to put you in the safe. Like it's weird, like superstitional thing that like, I'm really uncomfortable around this gun. I've tried to trade it for a van. Didn't work. I've tried to trade it for an ATV. Didn't work. But to melt it down and like make it into a sword, like I think that would actually be kind of a unique and interesting thing.
Did you know the person?
No, okay. But the person that I brought it from knew them. They were a customer of theirs.
Yeah. Well, I mean it's almost like a cool, because I'm guessing it's like not a great gun.
It's a M&P 15.
Oh yeah, okay.
So not a great gun.
Yeah, it's almost like a cool like memorial thing almost for that.
Yeah. I think that would actually be kind of an interesting thing, like to do with that thing that I don't want and don't really care to have. I felt bad, and I thought that it would be, I don't know. I didn't think that I would have the like mental block towards it that I actually do. In fact, I'm literally looking at it right now.
And you refuse to take money for it. Like basically.
Yeah, I just thought that I would like trade it to somebody for something.
Yeah, and now it's like become its own thing, right?
Yeah.
Because you committed not to do the thing, so now it's just become this.
Yeah. And so I tried to trade it for a van. He couldn't pass the background check. So I just gave him like a pittance in cash.
Right.
And then tried to trade it for an ATV, but they didn't have a registration for it because they used it as an agricultural vehicle. But if I was going to use it, I would have had to have tags, so it would have been impossible. So that fell through. And now it's this thing. But like stuff like that, I think making a sword out of it would be, I don't know, interesting. This got really morbid, oddly enough.
Well, anyway, so when we start up the thing, for yours, we'll actually do it.
Yeah.
We'll just for everyone else.
Guns, yeah.
Everyone else, we're just gonna steal the guns.
It'll be the McCloskeys turning in their stupid movie guns.
Oh man, I would love to have one of those.
Actually, yeah.
But I'm weird about that. Like, I really like articles, right, of history. I
Mhm.
really like the thing that was used. I've got a couple pieces like that. Firearms that were involved in specific crimes from the area.
Mhm.
Which I don't know if that's morbid or if I'm just weird, you know.
Yes.
Well, it's just kind of local culture. It's like, oh yeah, remember when that gas station got held up? Just
Oh boy. So
yeah.
yeah, this is a big scale. Like, I don't. The whole sword thing and the whole place that it was is just so much virtue signaling.
Oh my god, it's so dreadful. Like, and I hate. Here, let me just. What is this?
I don't know.
Like, I'm showing Grimes in her like outfit. This is like, dude, is this hot?
Not to me. Like, I actually like breasts.
Yeah, I mean, like, she can't control that. I mean, not to a reasonable degree, anyway. But
Yeah, but I don't like the outfit. I mean, I don't know. The outfit is
the
interesting.
outfit's dreadful. The virtue signaling silver mask dingus.
Yeah, and
What's
what's
that?
yeah, what's the other thing that she's holding open the whole entire time?
Like a book?
Yeah, like every
No,
picture.
I can't read, but yeah, no, that's a book.
Yeah, it must be the Book of Souls that her and Elon are stealing. I don't know.
This is just like dreadful. Like, these are the people. These are our, super. These are the turbo powerful people nowadays. Like, I'm not a. I never get involved in the culture war or any of that stuff, but I just hate this. Like, this looks like a person that you would just avoid at all costs at, one of these things.
When you're watching a movie or a TV show and there's like an ancient vampire on it,
Yeah.
this is what they look like.
Yeah. And it's like not meant to be pleasant.
No.
It's meant to be like a bit upsetting.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, let's talk about something a little more. I won't say good or bad or whatever, but we talk about qualified immunity a lot on here.
Even though we clearly don't understand it, according to some listeners.
Yeah, according to this guy who's not a lawyer or a real cop, who sent in just a total bitch email. I'm sorry. It was just like such a little, just like, he seems like, he wrote this email and seems like he's a diminutive person, like physically small. And, but yeah, so that's the background for that joke. For any of you who might have missed that, we got a very upset email saying that your co-host clearly doesn't understand, and then like reasserted my definition of qualified immunity that I actually said, except putting a positive spin on it.
Right.
But so, for those of you who don't know, qualified immunity basically stands for the proposition that if a police officer does something in the line of duty that is not clearly established to be wrong, they can't be held civilly liable for it. Now, the unfortunate thing is that after this doctrine developed, the court began exploded what clearly established means. And it basically meant that if you behave in a particularly insane way so as to distinguish yourself from previous cases, that you'll just get away scot-free and you won't be civilly liable for what you did.
Jeez.
So in Connecticut, and we've got two stories from Connecticut this week, a person was pulled over. Well, no, he wasn't pulled over. His GPS froze and he stopped his car, kept the engine running to troubleshoot and mess with his GPS. And he happens to stop in a dark and high crime area, well known for prostitution, drug transactions, and other criminal activity. So a pretty slick place, like kind of an adult theme park area.
Mm-hmm.
So as he's messing with his phone, this police officer goes up to his car, starts harassing him. He hands over his driver's license, and he hands him his gun permit and tells the cop he's got a pistol in the driver's side door. Cop grabs him, shoves him out of his car, slams him on the ground, throws him in cuffs, and goes through his pockets where he finds drugs, which were nitroglycerin pills for his heart. Steals cash and a flash drive. The flash drive contained photos and videos of the man's deceased father. Right, and this is all because he's like, oh hey, by the way, here's my gun permit. I've got a gun. So he brings a civil rights lawsuit, right, alleging that this is clearly a Fourth Amendment violation, right, a unlawful seizure of his body, of his property. And at oral argument, the lawyer for the police officer here claimed that this conduct was justified because the officer had probable cause to believe that the defendant, or that the plaintiff in this case, was possessing a firearm without a permit, because the cop didn't yet manage to check the permit's validity.
Wow.
Luckily, what is this? Federal court in Connecticut was like, no.
Right.
Yeah. The judge said that siding with the police officer here would eviscerate Fourth Amendment protections for lawfully armed individuals. So it's actually a really great decision, and it's not one we see very often.
Yeah. I just read Connecticut, carrying a pistol in a car without a permit is a Class D felony.
Yeah.
What?
So he's like, I've got a permit and there's a gun in the car. And then the police argument is, well, he had a permit, but what if it wasn't valid?
Yeah, that's not the way that works. Clearly. But you could see where he was like going after that.
Oh yeah, no, and I can see, honestly, I feel like this was probably a 50-50 dice roll in this court.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. And who knows how it'll go if they decide to appeal it. But I think that this is a good decision.
Yeah, I think it's a very good decision. And also, this is not indicative of a lot of cops. This guy seems like a real asshole.
Well, this isn't really also indicative of the police behavior either, right? Because let's be fair, the police officer isn't thinking about qualified immunity generally when he's doing what he's doing. It's the department's lawyer or team of lawyers, right, that cooked this crack up.
What's crazy is as you were reading that, I have had a very similar experience, less egregious, but I got pulled over in Denver for speeding. And he asked if we do not have duty to inform. So I was not going to volunteer any information because don't care. And he asked if there's any weapons in the car. I said, yep, I have a firearm in the console next to me because I was driving from Colorado Springs. So it's like a little over an hour drive. So I removed it to make it easier to access if necessary. And he made us get out of the car. It was bitter cold. I was just wearing a t-shirt. He literally screamed 2 inches from my face because I put my hands in my pockets, completely not even on purpose, just instinctively because I was shivering so hard. It was hurting my back. Mm-hmm. And he made me walk away from the car and just stand, 15, 20 feet from the car. Couldn't put my hands in my pockets, and took my gun, unloaded my gun, stole several rounds of my ammo, which I don't even understand.
Just rounds?
Yeah, just rounds. Yeah, I had 15 in there. He gave me 11 back or something dumb like that.
Weird.
Yeah. And I didn't notice. I didn't notice till the end, after he was already gone. And
you were like, you little bastard.
Yeah, the person I was with, when they walked over to get out of the wind, and he literally grabbed his intercom and screamed at the top of his lungs. And it was a very shrill shout. And because he was just a jerk, he was a piece of crap. And there was no reason at all to think that we were threats in any way. If he wanted to take possession of the firearm until the traffic stop was complete, sure, that's fine. Do what you need to do. But yeah, it was just really super aggressive for no reason.
So, I had the best and worst officer I have a gun experience both in Alabama. The worst one was first, where it was I allegedly ran a stop sign. I went back and looked, and the stop sign was completely covered in vines. Like, come on.
Yeah.
So I run the stop sign. They pull me over, like 3 cars, right? I'm like, oh, cool. Cop comes up. He's like, whatever. Do you have any weapons in the car? And I had just moved to Alabama. I didn't know what the deal was there. But I was on my way back from the pawn shop where I had just bought a 1903 Springfield. And so I'm like, yeah, there's a 1903 Springfield in the back seat. And he goes, is it loaded? And I go, officer, it's a 1903 Springfield. It's like over 100 years old. He goes, so it's loaded. And I go, no, so it's not loaded. Like, I don't, that's not a self-defense gun. And he goes, I'm gonna need you to stay right there. And he's like, and now he's like this, right? Now he's drawn down. He's, I'm gonna need you to stay right there. And he gets back up to come and open the back door. And they reach in and they take the gun out. First they tell me to lower the window, which was weird. And then it was too long. They couldn't take it out the window. So they asked me to unlock the door. I unlocked the door. They open the door, take out the Springfield, take it back to their cruiser. And I see they've got it like rested on the window, like pointing at traffic because they're checking the serial number, which is on the top of the receiver. So they've literally got my Springfield trained on traffic so they can run the serial number.
Jeez.
They bring it back 10 minutes later and they're like, so yeah, the gun came back clean. And I go,
duh.
Right. That's because it's a 1903 Springfield.
Right.
And he goes, why do you have this?
Oh.
And I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, you gonna hunt with it? And I go, no, that's boring. And he goes, so why do you have this?
Yeah. Well, why do you care? Why is it any of your business?
I just said, I like it. And it still had the like red mandatory trigger lock on it. That's nice. When he puts it back in the back seat and he leans into the car. He's like, the trigger's locked on that gun.
Yeah, you idiot.
And I just go, okay. What are you going to do about that? And I go, man, I'll figure it out later. And he wandered off. And like, that was that. They didn't ticket me or anything, which was nice. But then I had the best experience where I got pulled over. It's the middle of the night. I was super tired. And, same thing. He comes up and I'm like, oh my God. And it's a canine cop, right? Like, oh no. So you got a weapon. And I'm like, I have a gun. It's in my waistband. All right. So I'm keeping my hands up here. And he goes, it's in your waistband? I go, yeah, I carry appendix. He goes, oh. I'm like, do you want me to like hold my hands up here so you can come disarm me or what? He goes, no, that'd be awkward, dude. And he suspected me of something greater. So he asks me to get out of the car and like walk around to the back of the car. And he never disarmed me. He just asked me the questions, which I was just like, nope, yes, nope. Yeah. The whole time I've got a blaster on me. And he was just cool about it the whole time. Like I immediately told him exactly where it was. And I was like, do you want to disarm me? And he didn't want to reach into my appendix because he thought it would be awkward. So he did his investigation while I was armed. And I just thought that was really respectful.
I've actually had that happen a bunch here.
Really?
Pulled over for speeding tickets, had firearms. And literally, I don't know if this is part of their training or what, but 2 of them literally told me at different times, different traffic stops, different areas, just don't point yours at me and I won't point mine at you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's pretty cool. I have no idea what got us off on this tangent, but I have another one where I got pulled over. That was a state trooper. I also got pulled over by another state trooper. And he asked me, do you have any guns in the car? Well, it just turns out that I did. I was like, yeah, like 7. And he's like, where? And I was like, in my waistband, in the console, in that bag, and in this case. And he's like, what do you have? And I was like, pistols, suppressors, a short-barreled rifle, all that. And he's like, okay, the SBR, or he called it a short-barreled rifle.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, I need to see that. And I was like, what? Oh, that one? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, well, it's over there. And he's like, okay, I need you to get it. And I was like, it's in the backpack folded up. And he's like, okay, I need you to get it. And I was like, what do you mean get it? And he's like, take it out and show it to me. And I was like, are you really? Are you sure? And he's like, yeah. I was like, okay, well, with my right hand, I'm going to reach over and grab the backpack. I'm going to lift it up on the seat. Is that okay?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. I was like, okay, right hand, lift it up on the seat. I was like, with my right hand, I'm going to bring it over into my lap and unzip it with my left hand. Is that okay? He's like, yeah. I was like, okay. So I open it. He's like, okay, take it out. And I'm like, are you sure? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to reach in with my left hand. I'm going to pull it out, and the stock is going to fall open because it's folded. I just want you to be prepared for that. Is that okay? He's like, yep. So anyway, this goes on and on. I don't want to bore anybody until I am on the corner, like sitting in my driver's seat with my seatbelt still on, holding a short barrel rifle with a suppressor and a folding stock on it out my car window, trying to explain to him that I'm the manufacturer because he keeps asking me what brand it is. And I'm like, it's my brand. It's my company. I manufactured
it.
Yeah. And he's like, okay, well, where's the serial number? And I'm like, right here. And he's like, okay, well, I'm going to take that down. And then I'm like, well, what do you want me to do with this? He's like, I don't care. Put it away. And so he comes back and he's like, oh, it came back clean. But this is after having to explain to him forever. It felt, but it was fine. Like, he was cool.
Like, why?
But yeah, it's like,
I think you just wanted to see it.
And there's cars like going by, and I'm like, they're going to think that I'm like attacking this officer, and I'm going to get shot by a good Samaritan. It was weird. But it was fine. He just, like, he was not educated on firearms or anything, which that's okay. Like, I get it. They have to know.
Do you think he just wanted to see it because you asked specifically for the short barrel rifle?
Yeah, maybe. And I had a lot of guns in the car.
Yeah, he's probably like, what is that?
Yeah.
My Control Pew got pulled over while he was on his way to Texas, and he had a actual Pelican case just full of 3D printed firearms. And I don't remember what state he was in, but he told us, he's like, comes like, what are you doing today? He's like, I'm running guns. What? Like, I'm running guns down to Texas for having an event. And he goes, do you want to see him? And he's like, yes. And so then it was just show and tell on the side of the highway. And these cops were like, "This, you made this? This is so cool."
That's awesome.
So yeah, that is cool. And I've always like, there's been times where I've had, like, 3 Pelican cases in the back, and I've always been prepared for the, for the question.
Yeah.
But it's never happened to me. But I've always wanted to say, whenever I have a stack of cases in the back, you have any weapons in the car? Well, what kind do you like? That's what I've always wanted to say.
That would be awesome. And there's like a lot of times that I have machine guns and suppressors in the car and things like that. And I'm waiting to get pulled over for that, because that's going to be awkward. And I'm definitely going to be handcuffed at some point.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the only time I've been involved with, I'm going to be flying with a machine gun next week. That'll be fun.
That will be fun.
Yeah, I wonder how that's going to go.
I've definitely flown with suppressors and SBRs, but never a machine gun so far.
I reckon I just won't even mention the fact that it's a machine gun when TSA takes it out.
I agree. There's no reason.
And also, guys, yes, I'm allowed to do that. I have.
Yes. Oh boy.
I'm surprised you've never had to take a machine gun with you.
There will be a time, probably actually coming up very soon, because I'll be traveling in an RV, and I'll be taking it for demonstration purposes. So
yeah,
very good chance.
That's what I'm doing. I have to do a demo.
Nice.
Anyway, sorry guys. Back to the news.
Yeah.
So we always hear, papers, please. Well, this article by my friend Cam. I like Cam. I don't know if you know. You must know him.
I've talked to him a couple of times, but I don't really know him.
He's nice. So there's Stamford, Connecticut. They're asking the state legislators to require gun owners to produce their gun permits whenever the police request them. And this is going to get illegal guns off the street.
This is like a stop and frisk. This is going to be minority based, I bet.
I don't know about that, man. Look, it's just about getting illegal guns off the street.
Yeah, it definitely has nothing to do with going into, like, maybe a little bit downtrodden neighborhoods and harassing people just for no reason.
All right. I mean, but it's illegal guns, bro.
Right. Yeah. I mean, however many freedoms we got to take away just so, we can get homeboy with friggin' a gun that he has in his waistband because like he literally thinks he's going to be murdered any minute.
So there were people who opposed it, and one of them said the reason she couldn't support the resolution was that she felt it could be used as a backdoor for police to racially profile city residents.
Oh, dang. She's smart.
I don't know about that. I think she might be a little woke. Maybe she should settle.
Yeah.
You know, maybe she should calm down.
Calm down.
Yeah.
Girls like that when you say that.
Listen, man, if she's got nothing to hide, what's the deal?
If I had a nickel for every time I've heard gun owners say, well, I don't have anything to hide, so I don't care what. Okay, bro.
Yeah.
Shut up.
It's like, you sure you got nothing to hide every single day?
Yeah.
Because I always tell people, let me look through your mail. Let me look through your texts. Let's make sure you haven't committed any felonies today.
If you look through my texts, all you're going to find is freaking fire memes.
Well, there's a lot of like nonsense that people don't even realize is a crime.
Yeah. Agreed.
Like, you know, if I find somebody using the telephone to lie to someone in another state,
yeah,
that's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah.
If I find them clogging a national park toilet, that's a problem. That's a federal crime.
Connecticut actually had like a good news and a bad news this week.
Yeah, isn't that kind of interesting?
It is.
But so yeah, let's hope this stupid thing doesn't go anywhere. It probably won't.
Agreed.
Yeah. But thank you, Cam, for bringing that to our attention. This is big news for our California people who probably already heard about it to death, but whatever. They got to reopen the salty weapon registry.
I totally missed this, actually.
You did?
Yeah.
So this is a suit that was brought by the a bunch of gun rights groups, FPC coalition of groups, as well as Cal Guns Foundation. SAF was involved in as well. Law-abiding California gun owners were not responsible for the failure of the registration process and were delighted with the outcome of our lawsuit to set things right, said Alan Gottlieb.
Sweet.
So basically this relates back to how in 2018 the process of registering your weapon was like a total joke. So like people had tons of screenshots. One gun owner documented 50 attempts that either timed out or froze up without completing, while multiple calls to technical support only were met with automated instructions on how to clear browser settings and delete cookies.
And they also have to pay $151K in damages to plaintiffs.
Legal fees, yeah. Because their position was nonsense. Yeah. So the Salt Weapon Registry will be open on January 13th, 2022, and it will close on April 12th, 2022.
So this is actually kind of interesting to me because I think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but there's a lot of guns that are approved on the roster, but you were unable to actually register them in this system.
So the roster is just for handguns.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know Franklin Armory has like several California legal AR pistols. I think they're the only ones that have AR pistols on the roster, but they couldn't actually, and no one in California could buy them because they couldn't. Oh no, this is different because it's not added to the drop down when they're selecting the gun they want to put. Okay. But this is good news. This is great news.
This is news. You know, there's still an assault weapon registry, but it means that Californians can have more stuff. And I think that's good. You know, progress is progress, and more guns in the hands of our friends is better.
I totally agree.
All right. Like the next thing. Yeah, you like that?
I do.
So I'm sure a lot of you saw this, but let's just take a look together. So I'm sure we've all been here at the range with our buddy.
Yeah, doing some buddy drills.
Doing homie time. There you go. Homie time. See? You always do that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And
that part, that's my favorite part that we do when we shoot together.
Okay, so here's what they're doing. They're doing like a buddy drill where one like goes down into a kneeling position while the other is reloading behind or whatever. And then they roll out, and then the next guy is like firing while the other person is in the rear, like kneeling, or I'm sorry, reloading, doing administrative, whatever's happening. Well, then one of them stands up right as the other one is pulling the trigger. I can't believe he's not dead. That's a
like. So one, like, there's a lot to say about this. One, don't do cringe stuff like this.
Yeah, this is
like,
super.
This is just dreadful. It's not cool, and you look stupid. It's so hard to look at, right?
Oh man,
it's like literally that's, and also we don't actually know what happened to this cat.
True.
He might have actually, because it takes a while for the bleeding to be really visible. He might have gotten tagged good.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, don't. First of all, don't do dumb stuff like this. Second of all,
yeah,
there's no second of all. Like
no, just like don't.
This is range theatrics. They're performing.
There's no practical effect here.
Yeah, they're performing things that are dumb, and I've never seen this in a movie.
Aside from like maybe old, 80s buddy cop B movies.
Yeah. Like none of the legit trainers teach this. I've never seen it in a movie. This is just idiots making things up.
Because what's the advantage of using your homie as a meat shield?
Right?
I mean, maybe maybe we're missing something out here. Maybe the backstory is that, Tricolor Desert homie here is actually just like a true moron, and his only utility to our boy in blue is to absorb a bullet, even if it's his own bullet.
True. That is a very good point. Maybe this is Lethal Weapon Part 42.
Yeah.
Danny Glover's like, I'm too old for this shit.
Danny Glover's like, you know what, Riggs? I'm done with you.
Yeah.
I'm done with you, Riggs.
This is not good. Yeah. Like don't do stuff that you learn on YouTube. Again, media is the enemy.
Or just like
media.
Yeah. Don't try to look cool at the range.
Yeah. Take it from Matt and I. Never look cool at the range. We
don't do that. We do not look cool. We just have a good time.
It's true.
That's like, there's all these people. I always see people there, on the firing line and do like, super Chris Costa and like posing and like holding the gun up all dumb. Whereas I'm there with my Pacol just smiling with I'm like, I like this. And,
I wear a big, huge hat at the range. There's nothing cool about that hat. And I understand this.
Hold on. I was going to pull up the image of us two at the range.
I want to see it.
It was the one where, so there's a 1022 that was like super kitted out, and Shawn goes for the BX25 mag, and I'm like, these are great, and I go for the 10 rounder, and so Control Pew comes up and he goes, oh, Shawn's is bigger.
Dang it! I think I saved that picture. I meant to share it. I totally spaced it out until right now.
Yeah,
I love it.
But yeah, see, we don't look cool.
No, we look like idiots.
But we had
that's
fun.
How we want it.
We had a good time.
My shirt.
Yeah, that's a good shirt. I think that saved you from a couple conversations.
I think so too.
Right.
Which I can do with more of. Wait, did people like talk crap about me on your Twitter?
It's like,
I want to know right now.
I became fam. Matt looks a smidgen taller. How tall? It was just look at their 1022 stuff on the site. Okay. Oh, bro, at Fudbusters, please start shaving your cheeks.
That's fair criticism.
Yeah, no, I don't look great today. I was gonna do it and then I didn't because I didn't want to.
Wait, how many days of growth is that? Because that's like a year for me.
Oh,
what you have is like a year for me.
Oh, it's like a week and a few days.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah. That's real man shit right there.
Yeah, I should get rid of it just to be cleaner.
I don't know. Anyway, buddy cop movies, like not real. Don't do it.
Not real. So I think that's about all the news, but we do have another sponsor.
Who?
Let me pull it up in the main frame.
I like it. Dial it up. I'm ready.
Screen turn on.
What?
It's Patriot Patch Company.
Oh, man.
It's custom designed patches, apparel, and accessories for any freedom-loving individual. And I just got in their newest patch. It is the... Hold on, I'm going to grab it.
Okay.
I have it.
I actually have... I got them. I have not opened them yet. I did see a picture ahead of time. Dogfight. Dogfight. We got a dogfight. But they do make patches, and while Matt's getting that patch, I want to talk about their cleaning mats. They're actually some of my favorite cleaning mats. It's like blueprint explosions of AR-15, AK. They're just super legit looking, and I really like them. And Matt is back with patches.
It's the newest edition.
Matt's back with the brand new edition.
Load and make ready.
Lady Liberty. With
each one of these, you get the concept art,
which is really cool, actually.
Kind of slick, right?
Yeah.
Especially you can see how, how much it changed on its way to production.
Yeah.
You also get a sticker that's got the design on it, and yeah, but most of all, you get the patch in this plastic wrapper.
Yeah. ASMR.
Really important.
This is wonderful.
And there it is, boys.
Show them. This is ASMR. It's pure sex. Oh, what? Wow,
look at that patch.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Mine's
it's over. You never thought of that?
No.
That's because you're not smart like me.
True. I'm not a mechanic attorney. Wait a minute. I am so doing that for everything from now on forever. Like, that is the best thing ever.
I'm somewhat proud of that.
Yeah. He put a patch on his microphone wind cover on the backside. So that like a forever advertisement. Yours looks so much cooler than mine, though. I'm just going to
the positioning.
Mine like right there.
Well, it's a position, and I've got a light right next to the camera that's perfectly on it.
The
only problem is I will always be out of focus.
That's hey, the important thing is the sponsors in focus.
Sponsors in focus.
Dude, this is my new thing. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, yeah, because your mic obscures a lot of your face anyway.
Yeah,
I can keep mine like right there.
It's so I can burp and no one sees me.
Do you have a little koi mute button?
Yeah, right here. So I'll be away and then everything's back. Yeah.
So I think that's I take issue with this though. I think that's a P320.
Oh, is it?
You tell me. It could be anything. It's definitely an RMR.
Is it, or is it an Ames like from Holosun?
No. Okay, well, I guess that's not definitely anything.
I guess, yeah, I don't know. I need to zoom, but that doesn't work in real life. I think you're right. I think it might be a 320. Yeah.
I take issue with that. But aside from that, that's a pretty slick patch.
Yeah, and Lady Liberty has green nods like a freaking pour.
Yeah, you think they wouldn't give Lady Liberty the white foss? Come on, man.
They would. Totally would. Okay, yeah, there. Boom. Just like that. Advertisement forever.
Yep. But there you guys go. That they're a great company, patriotpatch.co. You got the promotional code. It's Twig10.
Yeah.
And you join the Patch of the Month Club. Every month you're going to get a nice little surprise.
Yeah. And just like we have right here. It's amazing.
And these are multi-use items. See? You can put it on your mic.
Put it on your dog.
Beard comb. Also works on, no, not this dog. It works on the other dog.
This dog isn't like rugged enough yet.
They stick to Alex, but they just kind of fell off Rose.
Alex is just old and salty and crusty.
She's got wire fur.
Yep. I don't know that stick on Cherry. She's got like little soft, cute fur.
Yeah, no, Rose is super soft. It's probably very straight fur. She's looking at me now all like upset. She's like, what did you do?
Cherry was just laying down at my feet, being a good girl.
Alex is here.
This is where we show off our dogs on Twig.
Dog time.